Hello and welcome to episode 24 of In PS We Trust. My name's Davey and joined with me as always is Phil.
Greetings, stranger.
And Spencer.
Let's get ruined.
We're a fortnightly PlayStation podcast and we each bring one topic of conversation to the table to go in depth on. But first, before we get into that, boys, what are you drinking?
So, Big Phil had a barbecue a while ago, and I took a crate of 20 cores.
Very nice. Very respectable number, that is 20.
It is nice. I would have liked more, but I didn't even drink that many, so I can't complain, really. Too many tequilas. So, my leftovers, I had 9 cores. I've drank 4 of those throughout the week, and I drank 2 of them already, and I'm halfway through the third, so I have 2 left after this one. And then, I've got a full bottle of Jim Beam whiskey to go with some Pepsi Max Cherry.
Oof,
Oh,
a classic.
great combinations all round. I mean, how are you finding the cores? Because I did a little mini review of cores a couple of weeks back, and I was saying how disappointed I was in it, that it wasn't as good as I remembered and that Budweiser's a better choice. Was I right on the money there, or was I way off?
Mate, I'll tell you, at the barbecue, I drank them warm, let's say, or slightly cold. Their whole shtick is the label goes blue when it's cold. That's when it's the right temperature.
You get the mountains, don't you?
You get the mountains. It's not as nice when it's cold. I don't know what it is. Obviously, beer's always better cold. Cores, for me, it's not. Maybe I'm used to room temperature from all the episodes of the podcast drinking crates of buds.
You're a madness, mate. You drink red wine from the fridge. You like
Banging.
warm beer. Are you just trying to be different?
I'm just a loose cannon, mate.
Just a maverick when it comes to alcohol.
A renegade in the streets. So are you drinking those beers now, room temperature?
No,
Cores.
they're cold now.
They've been
And
in the
that's where-
microwave.
Oh, I might do that. That'd be a shout. But no, they're cold now, and that's where I've realised. I was like, well, doesn't taste as nice as the barbecue.
I think you're just a little bit more sober now, so the actual taste is kicking in rather than just all tasting pretty all right, you know?
I mean, maybe, but even at the barbecue, I had my first course, didn't I?
True.
And that was nicer than this. But I will say, I think you were bang on. Buds are better.
Yeah.
I'm biased, because I'm obviously sponsored by Buds. But
I'm not. See, and I suppose that's where it is. That's where the truth is. It's in that in-between area between you and me, and in this case, it's me. But what about yourself, Phil? You've moved away from all this nonsense lately, and you've seen the light. So what are you on today?
Well, as Spencer mentioned, I did have a barbecue last weekend, and there was a ton of leftovers. I overbought on the Asda order, so there was quite a lot of leftover alcohol, so I've just been picking through. I've got a nice selection tonight, so I'm starting off with a little special, thanks to Martin Miranda. Shout out, friend of the show. He left some beers, so I'm just working through those. Get through those first, obviously, just in case he comes back over and wants them back.
Course. Got to hide the evidence as well.
Hide the
Make
evidence.
sure. Laura, take the recycling box out back.
And
Don't put it out the front.
And after all that banter he was giving us at the barbecue, we know he listens to the show, and this show goes out on Wednesday, and by then they're all gone.
Yeah, definitely. Got to get sorted. So what's after that then?
After that, I think I got a selection of Amstel or Foster's. So we're talking top tier lagers here, boys.
I wouldn't put... Oh my god. Can you imagine? Do you remember I showed you that beer rating site a little while ago? Yeah. And it had rankings for what all the beers were. And out of all the common beers, Budweiser was somehow quite high up on there. And all the rest of them are quite piss poor. I don't even know what Foster's is on there. But I bet it ain't above a 10.
It didn't make the list, probably.
Yeah, probably didn't. It probably didn't. From these beer connoisseurs.
But for the price Asda, sells Foster's and Amstel, why not?
Yeah,
why not?
You can't go wrong, can you? You just can't. Speaking of price, I'm on an Aldi special at the moment, but I've only got one left. It's these little cans called Alskas. Have you ever had these? They're like a mixed fruit cider. So it's a raspberry, wild strawberry, and elderflower. It's in a little can. I thought it would be a little rip-off of Koppenberg or something like that. But it's just mega sweet. It's literally like someone poured a thing of sherbet into a thing of water and said, yeah, that'll do. It's so sweet. My teeth feel foamy, almost.
Oh.
Like a little bit of froth on them. Horrible feeling. Nice, though.
Really?
I'm now diabetic by the end of this can, I'm sure. But it is really nice. But yeah, I'm enjoying those. They were God knows, 50 odd p a can. Decent, though. 4%.
It's a cheap way to buy sugar, though, isn't it, really?
Chuck that in your coffee in the morning, that'll get you going. But unlike you guys, I had nothing left after that barbecue. I drank everything I had other than tequila. So I got half a bottle of tequila, which will come up if we do the button, gets hit later on.
Well, you did leave one Estrella, which I'm thinking I might sprinkle in a little later. So there was one left, one out of your crate.
Oh my god. Well, so I didn't have any Estrellas left, or I didn't think I did. And so I bought a crate of Grolsch. And I tell you what, I haven't had Grolsch for ages. But good god, it's fantastic. I sunk a few of these last night, and Jesus Christ, incredible.
Are they the bottles with the cool pop? Because that's the best thing about drinking Grolsch, is pop in those bottles.
Oh, I wish. Do you know, the annoying thing is, when you buy a crate of them now, it's like as if they know that you want to have those swingy top bottles on them.
Yeah.
And so it's got that kind of picture on there. But then when I opened it, no, it's just a standard bottle.
They've done you,
cap.
mate.
They've done me.
That's mis-selling. 101.
I will say, this bottle, out of all the bottles so far, reigns supreme. It's like ergonomic. It's like ergonomically designed. It's got little indentations on the side for where your hand goes, and it's got little bits on there, which I'll show it to the camera. There's like little lines for your grip, so you like don't accidentally sky the bottle or something. It's awesome. It's actually awesome. It's a fantastic bottle. Grolsch, 10 out of 10 bottle design. Just wish you had that flippy lid. That flippy lid just makes it. It's an extra experience.
Isn't that like not good bottle design? Considering the lines for your grip are on the base of the bottle or like around the bottom of the bottle, isn't that where you shouldn't hold because it warms the bottle up faster?
Where else do you hold the bottle? You don't hold it from the top.
You hold it from the neck. Yeah, you hold it from the neck. And you just
Spencer is actually right, Davey, here. And he's the one that likes warm lager, so he should be cradling his lager to warm it up, like you would with the red wine, Spence. You hold it around the body of the glass to warm the wine with your hands.
Well, I don't know wine.
I never hold a bottle of beer from like this. It's like as if you're a rich English person with a little finger out, drinking it from the top.
Extend the finger.
I see, I'm not feeling that. In fact, audience, I wouldn't mind knowing if I'm in the minority here. How do you hold your bottle? Do you hold it like a normal person, hold it in the middle? Or do you go for the neck?
Straight up, Twitter vote. We need this. We need to know from our audience. Do you drink holding the neck of the bottle or the body of the bottle? Get that straight up, Spence. We'll find out later on in the show. Let's do a live poll. We need that data.
And done, boys. The poll is now up on our Twitter. So with that done, let's move on to what we've been playing. This time on NPS We Trust. What have the boys been playing?
So guys, it's been 2 weeks since the last podcast. What have you been playing?
Well, I've had the last 2 weeks off. So I've had lots of time to play games. But have I been playing many games? Yeah. I've jumped in a couple of times. I spent an evening with you boys playing a game which we'll mention in a second. But I did also spend a couple of hours in Ratchet & Clank. Not specifically to get any trophies or anything. I know you boys are mad on the trophies, and I saw your eyebrows twinge a little bit because you know I've completed the game. But more to do things that I missed out in the game. There was a section which I really wanted to revisit because I found them fun in previous iterations of the game. And that was the arena challenges at Xerxes. For those who haven't played the game, these are 15 different battles split between bronze, silver, and gold. We have the challenge to defeat enemies. For example, one of them could be defeat 25 goons only using the Enforcer. One of them is fight with randomized weapons, and one is defeat 3 waves using the Headhunter. None of them exactly difficult, and I did complete them all, but they're all very fun. Did you guys complete this, or was this something you missed in the game?
Well, this is actually something you got to do for the platinum.
Yeah.
You've got to get the gold cup. So I assume you haven't got the gold cup yet then?
Well, I have, yes.
But so he has. Nice. Yeah, he's going for the platinum. I reckon he's going for it. I don't know why you're lying to yourself, Phil. Just say you're going for it, fam.
If it pops, it pops. But I'm just revisiting missed content because I did rush through that game to complete my challenge of completing Ratchet & Clank on a previous podcast.
Rushed through.
I did. I just mainlined it.
It took like 2 months.
Mate, I like to enjoy my games. Take that laid-back approach to video gaming. Because I've got so many different video games. My life is so busy.
Just didn't realise that Ratchet has a run option. He's just holding the stick so forward that he's just walking everywhere. Just like strutting around the environment. Quick, Ratchet, the whole world's falling apart. Hold on, I'll be there in a minute, baby.
Well, you've got to do an E3 panel every time you go to a new world. Some of
That's
those
true.
vistas are beautiful in the game.
They are. They actually really are.
So that was the game that I was playing over the last 2 weeks. There is another one, but we'll come back to that. Spencer, what have you been playing over the last 2 weeks?
All right, I've got 2 games I've been playing. There's a bit more, but I don't really feel the need to mention them. They were like maybe I dipped my toes. I didn't spend a lot of time with them. But the 2 big games I've played, the first one we actually mentioned last episode. And that's because it was the easiest platinum, I think. Or second, or I think third easiest platinum. And that was Donut County. Now, this game is basically a raccoon who works at a donut shop. And whenever someone orders a donut, instead of sending them a normal donut, he just like sends a little hole to them. And that hole like devours things. And the more you devour, the larger the hole gets until you absorb everything. And the story is actually really funny and really charming. The gameplay's it's a basic game. All you are is a hole. That is it. But I've played maybe 3 or 4 mobile games like that, and I get addicted to it. I'm spending constant nights playing it.
So is it like We Love Katamari? If you ever played one of those games, you're like a ball that you roll around the environment, picking up things until you grow bigger and bigger and bigger, and then you're like devouring cities and stuff.
Is that the Vita game, if I remember rightly?
It's on Vita.
Yeah.
It started on PS2 originally, and then I never bought it. I just had demos, but it was always really fun. Just a really fun, stupid game. Just a really fun little silly thing. Is that what it is? Because it sounds very similar.
It's literally the same concept, different idea. So it's the exact same gimmick, but instead of being a big ball, you're a hole in the ground. And your goal is just to absorb what you can. There's loads of like little puzzles in the game, loads of little challenges you have to do for trophies and stuff. I did think it was just going to be a shit, cheap, easy platinum, but I actually really enjoyed my time with it. The story's really charming, the characters are funny. It's just a good game, and I might even after platinum in it, I might play it again.
For the listeners, some of them may have not tuned into the last episode. I do recommend it. If you are listening to this as your first episode of MPS We Trust, you should go back through the catalogue. But for those who haven't, Spence, how much was this game? Because this was a very cheap game, wasn't it?
I think it was on the summer sale.
On the summer sale.
I saw it, or the indie sale or something. I think it was maybe £2 or £3.
Nice.
But I'd heard of this game prior to me buying it, and I knew it was a charming game.
Yeah, because I went through that list, didn't I? 25 easiest platinums of all time.
Yeah, I'd already bought it prior to that, to be fair. That's not why
He saw
I bought
that
it.
list. There's no way he didn't see that list and then just buy it, because like the amount of games you run through last time, and they were all on that list, and all within like the top 5, like all of them.
Well, what I
So
did
there's
was,
no way.
there was the PlayStation Summer Sale and the Indie Sale. I just scrolled through it thinking, what's cheap and looks shit? And if I saw it, I'd just immediately Google the platinum for it. And if it took like 5 minutes or under an hour, I'd be like, oh, sick. There we go.
You know, most people delete their internet search history because they're trying to hide some porn or something that they've been Googling. But Spencer, he's trying to hide all those guides he's been getting for platinum trophies and easy video games where you can achieve platinums in like 5 minutes.
Mate, I'm proud. I'm proud.
Oh,
Yeah, because we have a few listeners now that actually tune into the show, so they're going to know.
Yeah.
So how many platinums does that take you up to now?
That is my 24th platinum.
You're flying up the list. You only had 1 platinum when we started this podcast.
Yeah, I did. We started and I had the Game of Thrones Telltale Platinum. And then after that, I got the Batman Telltale Platinum. And then my first genuine platinum was the night of PS5's release, Astro's Playroom.
I don't even go after platinums, and I know both of those are dog shit platinums.
They are. They really are. But to be fair, like with the Telltale ones, there's such an engaging story that a platinum's like a byproduct. Well, that's how I view it anyway. It's not kind of the intention. You're there just to experience the story, but it just kind of ironically just gives you a platinum just for playing it, which, you know, kind of does suck if you're being careful about your list like I am. But Spencer obviously is just chucking them on now. I mean, to go within the space of like 10 months from 1 to 26, something off there.
How many Telltale Platinums do you have?
Something
Moving on.
yeah. Move on.
All right, so the other game I've been playing is a revisit. Because as we all know, I played these games a good while ago and I adored them. I've been revisiting Resident Evil 3 and I've been playing it in hardcore. I was going to do Resident Evil 2, because as we all know, that was my favorite. But I just know RE3 is a faster game. It's a lot more lenient. They give you more ammo. I just thought it'd be a nice, easy, fun playthrough. But I will say, as much as they throw everything at you, you get so much ammo, the boss fights are still such a pain in the arse. I died maybe 12 or 15 times to Nemesis during the first fight, and that was my first death. It's a nightmare.
Are you finding that the dodge mechanic is just ultra important on hardcore? Because it's like 2 hits till dead, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. The dodge mechanic is mega important, but it's a lot more lenient than it is in the original game. I'm hitting those dodges every fucking time. It's really not hard in this game, I find.
Oh, yeah. This game, they're actually designed well. Whereas in
Yeah.
the original, they were just a fucking clusterfuck. It was a nightmare in the original, so I'm so glad they did that. But I know, like, Phil, you really struggled with the dodge mechanic for quite a while, didn't you, in Resident Evil 3 on your first run-through? I think you realised that you kind of had to use it towards the end of the game, whereas on normal, you can kind of skate through without having to master it. But I imagine on hardcore, it's not that experience. You have to have mastered it to be able to get through that game.
You know me, Davey. I can travel through games and totally miss out big sections and still get to where I need to go. Like Horizon, I didn't even know you could take over the monsters until 50% of way through the game where I needed to progress the story. But yeah, you are right. I didn't use the dodge mechanic when I played through the remaster of Resident Evil 3 right up until the end.
So am I right in saying that then, Spence? You wouldn't be able to get as far as you have done without mastering that dodge mechanic?
I mean, yeah, 100%. 100%. That dodge mechanic for hardcore is essential. And I was even thinking, because the dodge mechanic's so nice, I was thinking, where do I place Resident Evil 3 on my list? Because I was playing, I thought this game feels amazing. Maybe it goes up. But
Whoa.
We have been saying that on previous podcasts when we can actually talk about Resident Evil, that playing it on certain difficulties definitely improves the game.
it does. It 100% does.
I think what you're going to find is when you go back to RE2 and you play that on hardcore, that you're going to find a next level appreciation of that game. And I think the same will happen when you play RE1 on normal. So I think when you look back on your overall experience and you kind of reevaluate your list, you're probably going to find that RE3 stays where it is because the other games get boosted by that difficulty jump as well.
The thing about Resident Evil games, for me anyway, I always try and play them on the hardest available difficulty, purely because I want the zombies to be scary. If they're not scary and I'm just running through blazing it, the game loses so much substance for me. So that's what you're experiencing. Now you're actually scared of these bosses.
I'm scared because it's RE3. I'm scared of the bosses. Actually, I'm not even scared of the bosses. I don't think I'm scared of this game at all. It's not a very scary game, at least not until the section later on in the hospital or the labs or wherever it is. That's where the game's scary.
When I say scared, I actually mean more you're scared of dying to these.
Yeah, you're cautious.
Yeah, Resident Evil 3 is not a scary game, apart from at that place in the hospital, which you mentioned with the hunters. Not to give it away. I'm sure it's an older game. People have played it.
We've talked about it in the past. Yeah, when I first played that area, I was shitting my pants.
It's just when that zombie drops from the ceiling when you walk up the stairs.
Yeah,
It
it
shuts
is.
everyone up. It's the most scary part of that game.
That's terrifying. But yeah, so my hardcore playthrough now, I've just arrived at the RPD with Carlos. And I think I've maybe traversed it a little bit, but not much. So Davey, mate, what have you been playing?
Well, listeners will remember that I started playing Subnautica based on kind of a listener suggestion a little while back, giving us a correction. And I loved it. I absolutely adored it. So in the background with everything else I've been playing, I've been ticking away at it. And I finally got the platinum. It took me 34 hours or 35 hours around about there. And I loved every single minute of it. I absolutely adore it. I think anybody who's looking for just a really nice chilled experience, which you can just lose nights to. The amount of nights that I started it at like 7 o'clock thinking, I'll put 2 or 3 hours in. And next thing you know, it's like 3 in the morning. That happened so many times, and I haven't had that experience with the game for a long time. I literally cannot rate it high enough. I loved it. I loved it, loved it, loved it. Now, there's a few technical issues, even on the PS5 version, which kind of drag it down a little. There's huge amounts of pop-in, absolutely massive amounts of pop-in. You'll be traveling up from like the depths, like 1,000 meters down, and next thing you know, just hit ceiling because it would just spawn directly in front of you. And that happens quite a lot. So it's not perfect. There are technical limitations with this game that kind of do hold it back. But overall, for the overall experience, it's a must play in my eyes. And so following that, I immediately bought the sequel, Below Zero. I'm really looking forward to that arriving through my door in a couple of days' time.
So you went physical with it?
Yeah, I did, yeah. The difference in price on the store compared to normal was insane. So on Amazon, they had it for $19.99, whereas on the PlayStation store, it's $34.99. It's a no-brainer at that point.
Ouch. Did you even check Shop 2? Or have you totally blacklisted them now?
Shop 2 do not exist in my vocabulary anymore. They are gone. They are completely gone. I checked the Game Base, who I've used a couple of times now, and they've been fantastic. So they're going to be my next pre-order. My next thing I pre-order is going to be through them, and they're going to get tested at that point.
If any of our listeners still buy physical discs, we'd love to hear where you're buying them from these days, because we've all had individual troubles with Shop 2, haven't we? And you always look down on me for buying things from Amazon because of the delivery delays. But yeah, of course, if anyone listening is thinking, oh, you guys should be buying from here, email in, let us know. Our email is pswetrust@gmail.com.
But yeah, so if I was to give it a rating, I'd probably say, for me, it's going to sit at 9 out of 10.
Oof, that is high.
That's high. That's higher than the Souls series. You realise that?
I wouldn't rate the Souls series any lower than, other than Dark Souls 2. Dark Souls 2 I'd rate probably an 8, but the rest of them I'd rate a 9. Bloodborne I'd rate a 10. I think Bloodborne's a masterpiece. But yeah, I'd rate it a 9. I loved it. I honestly loved it. I haven't had a game like that that's just really captured me and just held my attention like that in a long time.
It's not really a game I've ever dipped into, and I'm sure some of the audience listening now are probably thinking the same thing. Do you want to give us a quick overview of what exactly this game is?
Sure. So it's a survival game. So basically what happens is your character crash lands onto an alien water-based planet, and you have to then find your way off. You basically got 3 different bars to manage at all times. You've got your health, your food, and your water. Oh, and then when you go underwater, you got your oxygen level as well. And so you're basically always constantly managing those bars. So it may be a case that you dive down, you hear a distress beacon about some life craft which is submerged in this area. You go and investigate, you find then plans from doing that for a higher capacity oxygen tank, so you can explore further.
And this game, it's a story-driven game. It's not open world.
It is open world. It is open world, but the way the story delivered is kind of more akin to something like Resident Evil or something, because it's all found through like files that you scan. So you find things like in the environment, you scan them, and you can kind of piece together the story from there. Now, there's certain things which are overt, which are just told to you, either through a cutscene or through dialogue, but the majority of the time it's just through scanning the environment. It's just a fully open planet, basically, for you just to go and explore, but your only limitation is the gear that you have. So in finding these wrecks and finding these resources, you can then upgrade yourself to be able to go deeper and deeper and deeper.
I think you touched on it in the last podcast. You were building a base underwater at some point, and you had a name for it. What was it? Platinum?
It was inside the base. So I call the base New Rapture.
That's it.
And on the inside, when you go in, it had Platinum 84. Well, it didn't actually turn out to be my Platinum 84, so it turned out to be Platinum 85.
You have to knock it all down, would you?
I didn't want to start again on it. It was
a
pretty impressive base by the end. But yeah, it's just one of those things that you just get a goal in mind to do for a night, and then you just get sidetracked because there's multiple other things that you end up finding that you could need, and that's just where your time goes. You might spend an entire night just building a second outpost, like 500 meters away, and that takes like 2 or 3 play sessions to do, but it's just fun to do that. It's just excellent, it really is. But I'll let you guys know what Below Zero is when I get into that. But apart from that, there's a game that me and Spencer have been playing together, which is Anthem. Spence, we managed to pick this up for an absolute steal, didn't we? Do you want to fill in what kind of happened here?
Yeah, so the game collection, which is where I'm probably buying most of my games nowadays, is where I got my Devil May Cry 5 for the PS5 game from. That was only 25 quid, like near release. Bargain. They were selling Anthem for £4. And obviously Davey messaged me and said, mate, do you want to play this with me? And I was like, it's 4 quid. Fuck it, yeah, let's do it. That game was probably worse on launch, but at the minute, it's not bad. The flying is easily the best part.
Yeah. It basically, for those that don't know, Anthem is essentially like Avatar, the movie, and Iron Man had a crossover. It's essentially that. It's basically all these aliens that want to kill you, be that, natural habitats of the planet or different kind of aliens. I don't know what the fuck they are just yet. And you just got an Iron Man suit. And so you just fly out there and just shoot them. Dumb fun.
I remember this game being massively hyped at the time when it was released, but I think it went downhill pretty quickly, didn't it? Because there was no substance to the game. There was no missions really to it. Has that improved?
It went downhill like 2 days after it was shown, because they showed the Xbox trailer for the release, and then a few days later, or maybe a few hours later even, showed the exact same trailer for PlayStation, and they just photoshopped the PlayStation buttons over the Xbox buttons, and so people were furious about that. And then obviously it did release, and there were a lot of issues with the game. But as of lately, when we've been playing, I've not really had any issues with it.
I think the big thing that was an issue with this is that it's a BioWare release. So with BioWare, you've got a certain level that you expect. These are the guys that made Mass Effect, right? This is a major team. And so for them to go on to this and to put this out is a major downgrade. The whole interactions with the NPCs in like the hub world that you visit is just so boring. It's so dull. And there's no real quest structure. It's just a looter shooter kind of thing. But it is fun to play. And so for £4, I'm quite happy with that purchase, to be honest.
But the question everybody's asking themselves, have you got the platinum?
Oh, God, no. Oh,
God, no, mate. Jesus. It's like
It's a difficult
150
one,
hour. My God. It's not difficult. It's just painfully long. I think it's at least 80 plus hours, wasn't it?
Yeah, it's about that. And the thing is, we're probably only, 5 hours in, maybe, Spence?
If that. Let's be honest, we're 2 quest missions in. We're 2 main story missions in. We've been doing side missions.
I mean, you've got platinums quicker than that before, Spence. What's going on?
Different games, mate. Different folks, different strokes, It's, nah. The game's fun. It's not that fun. That's crazy.
The big thing I'm kind of questioning myself about this purchase, Spence, is this going to go the way of Monster Hunter World, where we say we're going to play it and then just never do?
Yeah. We bought it, installed it, and it took us like a month to play it. Yes. Yes, it's going that way.
I think for listeners, if you find this for like £4 or under, you're in for an absolute ride. Because I think for that, it looks visually stunning, I think. It looks great. And I'm flying about in Iron Man gear. Like, I've literally just painted myself in Iron Man colours. I'm flying around. It's great. For £4, it's fantastic. For full price, I'd have probably been fuming. With this purchase, I would have been fuming. But that's about it for the games I've been playing. There is one more that's left, but we're going to talk about that in a later topic. So lads, there has been a number of betas that have been happening on the PlayStation Store, what with Gamescom, and with just betas in general. Now we've taken part in one beta on that together as a unit. So Phil, do you want to fill us in on this?
Yeah, for sure. After making it onto my kill list in the last podcast episode, Diablo 2 Resurrected is a game we have dipped in together, haven't we? You boys talked me into playing a couple of the opening quests, and the demo itself, it gives you the option to be the Amazon, Barbarian, Druid, Paladin, or Sorceress, with the Assassin and Necromunda not available. The game itself, it looks great once you switched it to performance mode. Thank you for that one, Spencer. From what we've played, it looks like Blizzard's done a really good job with this 20-plus-year-old game. I originally played it on the PC, as you guys know, and it was a fun evening, but nothing we did that night has made me consider buying this or putting it on my wish list on Amazon. How did you guys feel about the game?
Yeah. I mean, I had this on my shag list. I had this really high up. I had this on the ones that I thought I'd be playing for months. It's done the same thing as Back 4 Blood did. It's just killed my interest in it. I literally cannot be asked to buy this. Even when this goes down in price, I'm not interested. To me, it just feels like, and this is probably sacrilege to everyone who's actually a fan of Diablo 2, feels like a worse version of Diablo than Diablo 3. I'm just going to say it. It just is. It just feels really kind of unfocused. It just feels old to play. And no matter how much you upgrade the visuals, it feels old. I've got better things to do than waste my time on that.
I think one of the comments we made was the only people we can see that will enjoy this game are people that played it previously 20 years ago, and they're digging in to reminisce about the game. They're going for that hit of nostalgia with the game. I don't really feel like, personally, this game, Diablo 2 Resurrected on console, is really going to bring too many new fans to the series.
Now, you can speak to this way better than I can, Phil, so I want to kind of ask you this before we hand over to Spence and get his thoughts. Did you notice any difference, other than visually, in how the game actually played or any of the gameplay systems?
Well, I did pick up, who was I playing? I was playing the Druid, wasn't I? And that came as part of the expansion, I think, to the original Diablo 2, with the Amazon Barbarian, Paladin, Sorceress, and Necromancer, I believe, were the classes in the original. And I played the majority of that game as the Amazon and the Necromancer. So that was the only difference for me, really, was those additional classes, because I'd never played as the Druid before. But the gameplay itself is exactly the same.
I'll tell you what fucked me off about it, and probably the reason why I'm so kind of deflated on it. The inventory is trash. You can hold like 4 things, and then it's like, oh, back to town. Time to use a scroll. I've picked up 5 things. Let's go back. It's a fucking looter game. You're picking up like 50 things in like a minute. Oh, better buy 100 of these fucking town scrolls, because we're going to be coming back here again.
Part of the joy back in the day really was having it all out on, mouse and keyboard, scrolling over all the different stats that the gear would give you and working out, is that going to make your character better or worse? That was the beauty of Diablo 2 back in the day for me. And I think it was a comment, Spence, you made during it, that the layouts, they are made for PCs.
Yeah, I said it as soon as we started playing. I realized it's just not a controller game. We played it, we dipped our toes in, and as soon as Phil, you came off and went to bed, me and Davey just said, do you want to play something else? Because it wasn't fun, and I genuinely do think it would be fun on PC, because the game is so clearly designed for a keyboard and mouse input. Using a controller meant every single time you ran over loot, because you're pressing X to do your basic attack to regain your mana or your rage or whatever your kind of substance is, you're picking up every item you step over. Whereas on PC, you can make the decisions, you can hover over stuff, and you have to click on the item. Whereas that doesn't happen on console. And also, just having to use your analog to move over to the identify scroll and hold X to then move back over to an item to identify it, and then you know if it's worth keeping. It's just not very well done for console at all.
Inventory management is just painful, isn't it, with that controller, as you're saying? Going back to town and trying to sort out what's good and what's not. I kind of just thought, fuck it, and I just put on whatever, right? Yeah. But I know on PC I would have taken a lot more time over that, but that time would have been shorter because of the controllers I had to me.
I think that's the thing about Diablo 3 that stands up so well in comparison to Diablo 2. And obviously there's a huge bit of nostalgia for me on Diablo 3. That's my game that kind of brought me into that franchise. I absolutely adore that game. So obviously there's a huge heap of bias here. But that game was designed for a console launch kind of day and date, or not far off, to be honest. I think it was within the year that it came to PC, and it had its own dedicated console port on PS3 and 360. You could pick up shitloads of stuff. So you would only have to go to town maybe once during a dungeon, and that'd be if it was like a heavy dropping loot dungeon. When you walked over stuff, it was really like easy to identify whether or not it was something to pick up or not. And I just found all those little things a real struggle. I don't know if I'd get used to that as the game went on or not, but it's too much for me to just turn off and say, no, I'm just not going to bother with it.
Do you feel, though, if Blizzard had made that choice to kind of rework the loot system more towards Diablo 3 within Diablo 2, that would have moved too far away from the original game for the hardcore?
Well, I suppose that's always the trouble, isn't it? When you're remaking a game, how much do you change it? And that's always the problem. And, you can look at it in 2 different examples here. You can look at Resident Evil 3, when that was done, and that was just, changed so much the game that the fan base hated it. And then you look at the other way, you look at Demon's Souls, and Demon's Souls kept it all exactly the same. It just turns out we all just adore that game anyway, so it's just lucky.
2 things. It released on PS3 over a year after Windows, over a year and a half, actually. And also, just give it the option, put in the settings, Diablo 2 or Diablo 3 controls. That's it. and it's infinitely a better game. On console, Diablo 2 controls do not fucking work at all.
I found the control-wise for my character was fine. I think it's just in what we were saying in terms of the inventory management. That's the difference that I notice in between 2 and 3. But the only way you'd kind of conquer that would be to have it so that you can pick up way more stuff, like you can in D3. As we say, then we go back to this argument of how much do you change, and then is it even Diablo 2 anymore? Or is it like 2.5, you know? And then you get the old school fans who are like mega fuming at it, hate it, and then it doesn't hit with the newer crowd either because it's not as far enough to be 3. So it's always a tricky one. I don't know where you guys would come down on this. How would you prefer it to be done? Would you prefer a new vision, or would you prefer it to be the original but just upscaled like Demon's Souls?
I'm going to go for what we always say on this podcast. Give us the option, as Spencer said. You know, as this is coming to console, why not have the option to change to console controls? You know, would it really be that much work? But again, I'm not a games developer. I wouldn't know. I'm sure adding that kind of functionality is probably a lot of time, you know, and what they're actually just trying to do is make an extra bit of coin off an older game, which I totally get. That's totally fine. That seems to be the thing video games developers do these days, is bring back their older games. But for me, yeah, the controller system really let it down.
Yeah, it wasn't great. It was a fine game, and if I had nothing else to play, I'm sure I'd spend time with it. But I had more fun with Anthem, which I didn't expect, than I did with Diablo 2. And I will say, to its credit, as much as I didn't have fun with it, those cinematics were some of the best things I've ever seen in my life. But aside from that, the game itself, I'm good. No.
It's staying on my kill list.
The game was actually on my marry list. Thank God that's gone.
That's the beauty of a marriage. You can get divorced.
It's true. That's true. Bin them off. Just chuck them in the bin straight away. Thank God you didn't shag them. You know? So it's just an annulment. It's just an annulment at that point.
There's no kids.
Lost.
There's no kids in the marriage. No one to be hurt.
Yeah, you don't have to give up half your stuff. You just literally say, I'm sorry, it turned out that when we met each other, there just wasn't a spark. And that's what happened with Diablo 2.
We rushed into this.
That Vegas wedding was just a mistake. It was just a mistake. So following that revelation where we've all binned off Diablo 2, and I'm sure we're going to get a shitload of hate mail for it, there's 2 other things that we've been playing in this, 2 other kind of demos or betas or alphas. The first was announced at Gamescom, and we played it straight away, Spence, and that was Riders Republic. So do you want to fill the audience in on what Riders Republic is, and then kind of how your thoughts went on the game?
Sure. So Riders Republic is basically an extreme sports kind of simulator kind of game. Similar to like Skate and such, except however, whereas Skate specializes in just skateboards, Riders Republic kind of has everything. There's flight suits, snowboarding, skiing, mountain bike riding, just everything. BMXing, I guess, as well. And the game is fun. Multiplayer was a nightmare. We couldn't figure that out. But the game's fun. I think it would be better if for all the races, there weren't checkpoints. It was just a finish line. Because once you hit one checkpoint or you miss a checkpoint, you're fucked. If you miss a checkpoint, you have lost the race, and it's not ideal, really. Obviously, just be better, hit the checkpoints. But when you're playing, in the game mode we were playing, where there was maybe 60, 70 of us, and people are barging you off the track.
It was madness, wasn't it?
It's absolutely fucking insane.
It was mad.
I couldn't tell where I was. In first person as well, you can't see anything. It was bad. Plus, your shirt's clipping through your own head, so you're half blind from that already, surrounded by 60 sweaty blokes on BMXs. My God.
It was something else. So explain to the audience, what happened with the checkpoint system then that kind of puts you at such a disadvantage?
You have to hit each checkpoint, like, in order, obviously, to be able to hit the finish line. And the one checkpoint, I jumped off a ramp, which was there. It wanted me to jump off the ramp. Landed on a checkpoint. I somehow, flew off where I landed, glitched into a barrier, and it ended up having to restart me before the checkpoint, before the one I hit.
Ooh.
I still didn't get lost, mind. But it wasn't great. Granted, it's a beta. It is a beta. I expect issues. I expect they'll tweak the game. But that was it. If the game specialized on one thing, so it was just BMXing, just mountain biking, I'm sure it would be polished and it would be really good. But a game that's trying to do everything has to have issues, I feel.
I think you're kind of right on that. I kind of echo those thoughts, to be honest. I think with the checkpoint system, the thing that's a bit of a pain in the arse is you got a rewind function. And I swear to God, the rewind function is slower than if you just kept going and got warped back. I swear it's so detrimental. You lose like 10 seconds. You'll just clip to the side of a checkpoint. Like, you'll still be in the general vicinity, just to the side, you know, you wouldn't have saved any time. And it's like, nope, gotta go through it again. So you hit rewind and it takes so long. And when you're fighting NPCs, that's fine, you know, just fighting the AI, because they're fucking awful. But when you're fighting other players, it's just terrible. So bad. You just go immediately from like top 10 to like 50th. So bad. So bad. I think out of all the sports that are there, the downhill mountain biking is just superb. I think that's actually incredible. It's really, really good. Really, really good, actually. Especially in first person.
That was one you highlighted on a previous podcast, wasn't it? The downhill mountain biking, because you said no one has really excelled in that within a video game.
Yeah, it's just something you don't see very often. You see a lot of snowboarding games, you know, you used to see a lot of skateboarding games and things like that, but you just never see downhill mountain biking. And it just turns out that it's just really, really good. Especially in first person. It's so engaging. And like drifting kind of around corners with your brakes and stuff, it just feels really nice to control. It feels really kinetic. It's excellent. The problem is that snowboarding is a step down from that. And then when you get onto the jetpacks or whatever and you're flying around in rocket suits, they are terrible. They are terrible. They're so boring. It just feels so dumb to play that mode. I don't know why anyone would be like, oh, I can't wait to put a jetpack on and fly at like 2 miles an hour. It's so slow. You fly so incredibly slow. There was just no feeling of forward momentum at all. So boring.
Do you feel like this game is trying to do too many things? As you said, the snowboarding is definitely a step down, but obviously snowboarding has been done, and it's been done to quite a high level. Do you feel like this game is trying to push in too many extreme sports?
Yeah, I echo exactly what Spence said, really. I think if this game focused everything into one particular thing, I think it would do it really well. But I think doing a jack-of-all-trades option, you just end up degrading everything you got. We've played one other thing together, haven't we? Phil has been absent. He's been AWOL for some reason. I don't know what he's been doing with these 2 weeks off, but he ain't been playing games.
Trying to get the silver, mate.
Oh, still not happened. Jesus Christ.
I've called in the big guns as well. I'm having training sessions with my brother, and they're like high platinum players, so those games have been very interesting.
Jesus Christ. And he's still not there yet. So still in bronze then on LoL then, are you?
At the moment, but we're crawling. We're crawling.
Fucking hell. It's like the slowest crawl I've ever seen in my life.
It's hard, mate. It's super hard.
Well, Spence, we've been playing Call of Duty Vanguard. And we've been playing the Alpha, Champion Hill. What are your thoughts on it?
Mate, fucking fantastic, mate. Fucking one of the best games I've ever played in my life. I'm fucking this Alpha, mate. Jesus. We're so cracked.
We're insane.
We're so sick at this game. Literally, the game mode, the Champion Hill, is basically there's 16 players, each on a team of 2. So 2 players per team. You'll get like a designated name and stuff. You get set in an arena, which has like buy zones. So 1 for weapons, 1 for perks, 1 for equipment, and 1 for support items. So extra lives, armor, stuff like that. And then after your buy sessions, like a minute or so, it sets you in like, it puts you in a list and it just decides a team for you to play. And you end up having to play basically every team. You have 12 lives. Every team has 12 lives. And you just have to try keep your lives whilst diminishing the other team's lives. So it's really, really fun. And it feels like a really good and competitive twist to the gunfight mode from the prior games.
It does. And each round lasts a minute long. The best thing about it is just managing your resources, where you get money for each kill, you find money across the environment, get money for downing and completely eliminating a team. And so your job then is to either save your money up or to spend it on weapon upgrades, perks, you know, get the flame suit, you know, whatever it is, or buy extra lives. And it's that kind of management and working together with your teammate to kind of pool your resource that becomes the key to success. But I tell you what, you're totally bang on. We are actually godlike at this game. Honestly, we are. I think we only had, out of the entire night, we played from, 7 o'clock?
We played from 6 till 2 a.m.
And I think we only came out of top 2 twice, I think, all night. We literally stormed it. We won so many. I can't even count how many we won. We're sick at the game. We're actually sick. I take it then, this means, Spence, that you are hyped up on this year's Call of Duty.
Mate, I was already set to pre-order it because we had a fantastic time with Cold War. We know this next one, Vanguard, has zombies, multiplayer, campaign, everything I want in a Call of Duty. And after this alpha, it's like, fuck me. This game's sick. Yeah, pre-ordered easy.
Does this put you off buying Battlefield, though?
Yes. Actually, yes.
Yeah.
I don't think I'll be buying Battlefield unless it drops in price.
Because generally, you go one side or the other, don't you? Generally, you don't play both. You play COD or Battlefield.
Yeah, now we're going to talk about COD a little bit later on when we talk about the Gamescom topic, but yes, I can tell you straight away now that Battlefield's gone. There's no way I'm buying Battlefield unless they release a beta or something that I can play it and feel kind of how good it feels, because this Call of Duty feels like another hit out of the park to me. So without spoiling the rest of the topics we got ahead when we get to Gamescom and everything else that's coming up, time for us to dive into quick news. Quick news.
Quick news. So, for the first bit of quick news, we have an update on the poll. So, lads, how do you hold your beer bottle? Since starting this recording, we've had 13 votes, and for some reason, By the Body is winning 53.8%.
Quick news. PS Now is losing one of its biggest PS4 games in September. For anyone who hasn't played The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt, time is running out to start your adventure on PS Now. Sony has confirmed the popular RPG is being dropped from the service next month. So don't delay, get in there because that game is freaking massive.
Zoom, 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 zoom. Quick news. You can now buy a PS5 in the UK. Various retailers including Curry's PC World, Game, Argos and Amazon have the PS5 in stock. So if you're in the UK and you want a PS5, it's time to act.
I probably felt like I was listening to an advert then, mate. that was probably good.
Thanks.
Quick news. Nickelodeon All-Stars Brawl. You laughed, mate.
That's a good one.
It kind of came across a bit sexy.
Yeah. I tried doing it like the world premiere of Xbox, you know?
I liked it. World premiere.
Yeah, I tried doing it like
sorry,
that.
Sorry,
Quick
man.
news.
I tried to mute myself just like I was laughing. Go for it.
Heard you laugh and I was gone. 2 new characters have been announced for Nickelodeon All-Stars Brawl. Cat Dog and April from Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. The game is still on track for a full release in 2021.
Quick news. Naughty Dog are hiring in order to aid the development of the Factions multiplayer release of The Last of Us 2. They said they're intending to deliver a cinematic experience to the players. I still doubt I'm going to play it, but here's hoping that Spencer has to inflict himself and do it all over again. Now, following that bit of news, turns out we got a rumour.
Kick it! You wake up with a rumour and you don't want to go. You ask if it's confirmed and they still say no. Okay, for our rumour, we have a PS Plus leak. This has been put out by the French site Daylabs? Maybe D-Labs? I'm not sure. Apparently, we're going to be getting Overcooked, All You Can Eat, Hitman 2, and Predator Hunting Grounds. Guys, do we believe this rumour? And if so, are these games you're excited about?
Sorry, I'm not sure.
Perfect response. I really hope that's picked up in the edit when I go through it. I'm not sure myself. I honestly, I can see a little bit of sense with this. Like with Overcooked All You Can Eat and Predator Hunting Grounds, I don't see why they wouldn't be included. They're quite old. And I don't imagine they got much of a player base anymore, especially with Predator Hunting Grounds, because it is garbo. When it comes to Hitman 2, I mean, we had Hitman 1 on PlayStation Plus a little while ago, probably about a year ago. So I could see it there. They're all very probable. And would I be happy? Yes, I would. I mean, I already own Overcooked 2. We've already got it spent. But this is the rest of the DLC that we don't own. And it's a win for us. And add on to that, Hitman 2, which is a stellar experience. And we got a great month. That's back on track, boys. I'm really happy with that. I just don't know if it's true.
For me, Overcooked All You Can Eat, I'm pretty sure, if I'm not wrong, that that's 1 and 2, isn't it? Is it both games?
Overcooked. The article itself says Overcooked All You Can Eat. So I think that is Overcooked 1 and Overcooked 2.
No, as far as I'm aware, it's Overcooked 2 with all the DLC.
Okay, let's ask Mr. Google.
I don't have a fucking clue. Nothing else to do. So that's all ask Google.
Guys, I've just looked at the wiki and it says, Overcooked All You Can Eat. This game includes both Overcooked and Overcooked 2.
There you go.
All right. Well, fair enough then.
It says the content from Overcooked was remastered using the Overcooked 2 engine and it has online multiplayer.
Which means another platinum.
I wonder if I got the platinum in Overcooked 1. I don't think I do. Yeah, we could do that. That'd be a hype little platinum, wouldn't it? 86?
It says it's separate. It says it's a separate game and a separate list.
So we just do Overcooked 2 again?
We can do both.
Oh, hell yeah. All right. I'm down for that. That'd be hype. That'd be great. I'm so down for that. So what are your hype levels for this then, Spence? What are you thinking?
Overcooked 2 was some of the best fun I think we've had on the PS5 so far. Because that one session we had where we were literally crying laughing was fantastic. And if I can get that again, that'd be fantastic. Plus an extra, if it's both games, is it 2 platinums? Because that's what I'd like.
You're not going to get 2 platinums out of... Well, maybe. It depends on how they separate the trophy list. It could be that they got all the Overcooked 1 trophies in one, and then Overcooked 2 in the separate lot. In fact, you could probably just Google this again. I don't have a fucking clue. Nothing else to do. So that's all ask Google.
So boys, after a quick second Google, I found information about the platinum for Overcooked All You Can Eat. You have to beat both games for the platinum. It's 1 platinum. However, and I'm a bit disappointed in this actually, you no longer need 3 stars. You just need to beat every level. And you don't need to do the Kevin levels either.
Oh, that's bullshit. That's an easy plat.
That feels like it's easy mode.
Yeah, it definitely is. But I think me and you will do 3 stars anyway.
Yeah, we will. We're 3-star gamers, mate. That's just what we do.
I'm not lately.
No, you're definitely not. But you need to pick up your pace. You need to get back into that 3-star mindset. And the Kevin levels, we smashed those. So yeah, all for us are Overcooked. We're gourmet chefs. We're not settling for this Burger King nonsense. We're going in highbrow. We're going in high tier. That's our clientele. That's what we deliver.
If you're so good, I think you should try and disable yourself by having the before-mentioned Martin Miranda on your team. Because he'll bring it down a peg. I've never seen anyone so bad at a game than Martin playing Overcooked. And there's some flame. There's some flame live on the show. Because he was giving us some shit at that barbecue, so here's the shit back to you, Martin.
I don't know. After he talked to us about his whole Dark Souls experience, I don't know. I don't think I want him playing anything with me.
No, definitely not. For the listeners, he's stuck on Vort the Boreal Valley, the second boss in Dark Souls, about an hour in Dark Souls 3, and he's been on that for 6 months. So, yeah, so you can take it from us that he ain't even getting 1 stars on these levels. It's just going to fail. So we cannot include him. We're a 2-man Overcooked squad. There's my wife's not included. Your girlfriend's not included. Us 2 making culinary history.
And I'm not included.
You're definitely not included, mate. It would take us 7 months to get it completed. So no, there's no way you're included in this. Going back to it, Spence, again, what is your hype levels on this?
So after Overcooked, obviously Hitman 2. I love Hitman. I haven't played the new games they've done, the remasters or whatever they are. I just got Hitman 1 for free on my PC, and I know that's great. I've been watching YouTube videos for these games for a while because the speedruns are actually really fun to watch. Some of the strategies are insane. This one level where you have to shoot over like a banister that you can't look over. So the strategy is to put a cupcake on the floor and stand on the cupcake so you can look over it. It's mad. Some of the strategies are insane. So I'm actually really looking forward to playing this and maybe platinum in it. We'll see. Predator Hunting Grounds, I don't give a shit. But Overcooked and Hitman 2, I'm chuffed with that. Way better than last month. I'm happy.
And yourself, Phil, you're hypercritical on PlayStation Plus, calling it mini games galore and all this, even though that's majority of what you play these days. Fill us in. What is your takeaway from this rumor? And do you think there's any credibility in it?
Well, seeing as I'm not included in your Overcooked nights, where apparently you are gourmet chefs, I'll skip that game, seeing as I have played it multiple times on Switch, and I think I got it on PC. I don't need to play that game through again. Hitman 2 does raise an eyebrow. As a lot of my Twitter followers and listeners to the show know, I've been sorting out my retro gaming collection, and I do own the Hitman trilogy, 1, 2, and 3 on PS2. So it would be nice to sort of revisit Hitman 2, definitely. And again, Predator Hunting Grounds. I'm not worried at all about that game. That's a skip. So I can see myself playing Hitman out of that list. When it comes to hype, I'm probably sitting on like a 6 out of 10 in terms of hype levels here. Nothing in that list is like blowing me up, right? There's nothing that I'm mega excited about.
No, I'm kind of the same with you on that hype level. I think that it's a good month. It's a good month where you're not going to complain about it, but there's nothing that I'm like, oh, I missed that. Something that I'm like, oh, I missed that. It's a really good time for me to dive in now, and experience it. There's nothing like that for me here, which is always what I find in the best months.
Yeah, I don't really see any games in that list that if I wasn't a PS Plus subscriber, that I would jump in at this point for.
No, definitely not. I agree with you on that one. I don't think it was either. But it's just one of those months that's just a good month, just a good solid month where you're not going to hear anyone on Twitter saying, shit month, dead games, waste of our money. You're not going to hear any of that like you did last month.
It's a step up from tennis, isn't it?
Oh Christ, a step up from Hunter Arena Legends. I forgot to inform you guys. I was hyping that game up like mad, and I forgot to tell you all. I played it. It's trash. It's actually so bad. I played it for an hour and it was terrible. So I was completely wrong on that, which doesn't happen very often on the podcast. But, I'll admit when I'm wrong.
I was going to say that's a first, Davey, for you to admit you got something wrong.
I've got loads of literal evidence on this podcast of me being completely wrong with my predictions, and we're going to get onto one very shortly. But just before we do, and I move it on, do you reckon this is probable then, guys?
I see no reason why it wouldn't be probable. And this website that I always mess up the name, Daylabs, they've got things in the past right. So why not? There's nothing there stopping this from being true, in my opinion.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's more than likely true. I don't want it to be true, because as much as I would very much enjoy playing Overcooked and Hitman 2, I wanted Fist, because we thought we might get Fist, because it's releasing the day we would get our PS Plus games. And I thought that game looks fantastic. If I could get it for free day one, that'd be sick.
Yeah, I'm with you on that one, Spence. I thought Fist might end up being the free game, which would just be an extra sweetener, because obviously that game is my most anticipated game for the year now coming up. So, yeah, but it doesn't look like it. I'm going on this being true.
If it was Fist, that would be a reason to buy PS Plus, wouldn't it?
Definitely.
100%.
Yeah, definitely
100%.
in my eyes. Definitely 100%. So I suppose we've only got a week or so, and we're going to know what we've got for the PlayStation Plus games for the next month. So there's no point in us speculating on this any further. Let's bring it on to the main topics. Hit that jingle. Stop! Topic time!
So boys, it's topic time. I'm going to start us off, and our first topic of the evening is Gamescom. So yeah, 40 games shown, and I'll list out the ones that kind of stuck out. The ones that are probably the bigger games. So there's Saints Row, February 22nd, 2022. Marvel Midnight Suns, 2022, February as well. They announced the Call of Duty Alpha, which obviously Davey and myself took part of, and Call of Duty Vanguard, the game. They showed off a single player level and gave it a date, November 5th. Midnight Fire Express, 2022. TMNT Shredder's Revenge, 2022, and showed off April as a playable character. Splitgate Season 0. Riders Republic Beta, which again we took part of. Lego Star Wars The Skywalker Saga, coming out in spring 2022. The Outlast Trials 2022, a free-player co-op game. Doke V, which is like a child simulator, but it's much more, it's mad. Far Cry 6, Horizon Forbidden West release date, and the Horizon Zero Dawn 60 FPS patch. Sifu release date, 22nd of the 2nd, 2022. Death Stranding, September 24th. So boys, after hearing all of those games, we're going to have a segment recur. But this time, because it was a bit long last time, one each. So we get one shag, one marry, and one kill. So whoever wants to take it, it's your time.
I'm going to push myself in. I'm going to start with this because Spence started last time, so I want to get in there first. I want to give you my shag. It's my game that I just want to get in and get out with and have a good little time with, and that's about it. And that is actually going to be Sifu. So Sifu is coming out 22nd of the 2nd, 22. So a lot of twos. And I tell you what, I'm going twos on with this because I cannot wait to get down and dirty with a bit of Sifu. I think it's going to be a fun little game that I'm going to play for like a weekend and I'll be done with it. But everything I see, I mean, we talked about this game to death on this podcast, and everything I see, the more interested I am. And every single hit, I can't help but making a pah, yeah, sure, every single hit. And I just cannot wait to do that for like 6 hours. And then just check out and think, yep, that was excellent. And here's hoping the combat is, like they kind of described, Batman, but with fighting game kind of controls. That sounds incredible to me. I cannot wait to try this and put this in my hands and just feel it. Is that on any of your guys' shag list?
No.
No.
No, not on mine, mate.
So let's move it on then. Who wants to take the next one?
Well, if you've pushed it into Sifu, I'm going to thumb it into Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Shredder's Revenge. Because, my God, we're going to get to play as April O'Neil. And she's a straight stunner.
You wouldn't have to thumb it in with April, would you?
I'm not going to say that. So as listeners to the podcast know, I am a massive fan of side-scrolling beat-em-ups. I love my retro-esque titles. Big fan of the Golden Axe series. Big fan of the Streets of Rage series. You know, like going back, Spider-Man Maximum Carnage, you know, that was a big game for me. So I'm really excited to see and play the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Shredder's Revenge when that comes out. That will be a day one for me. So I'm going to get in and get out, but play that game. And I don't think it'll be reoccurring. I think it's just going to be a one playthrough, but it looks like a hell of a lot of fun to me. Is this a game you guys are going to be picking up as well? Because it is 4-player.
I think I'm definitely going to be picking it up, but I don't think I'll play it enough to warrant it as a shag. So it's not a kill, but it's not on my list.
Fair.
Same kind of method in my madness as well. I can't wait to play that game, and I think playing it together, I mean, we already discussed who our turtles are, so that's already locked in. We're already down for this day one. We're all going to play it. But yeah, it's just not enough to make it onto my list at all, and I don't dislike it enough to kill it off entirely.
How about you, Spencer?
So, boys, for my shag, I actually played an earlier version of this game today. My shag is Saints Row. Earlier today, I was playing Saints Row the Third, and it held up. It's still a really fun game. I was playing it with my friend on co-op. Actually, no, we tried to. It didn't work. We just played it single player, talking to each other whilst we did it. But Saints Row, they're doing a reboot of the series. It looks really good. It does look really good. They didn't show much. They kind of showed like a little flashes of gameplay and a big cinematic trailer. And at first, I had no idea what it was. I did not know it was Saints Row until they showed the name.
You and me were making predictions. We watched it together, didn't we? This conference, and
yeah,
I was saying like, oh, it's twisted metal. It's, you know, and all these different outlandish things. I never would have guessed that was Saints Row at all from that.
Never. But then when they showed the gameplay, I would have.
Yeah, definitely. Now, what's interesting is the developer have come out and said since, because there's been quite a bit of backlash to this kind of proposed reboot, is they're saying, one, they're not listening to the Twitter audience, which is the best stance you can take. Honest to God, that's the best stance you can take. Just do not listen to them, because the vast majority of people don't give a shit. So don't listen to these outrage. And they're also saying that it is as outlandish as you think it will be. That's really encouraging, even though, spoiler alert, it's not on my list at all.
As long as I can get my purple dildo back again, I'll be happy.
That's all you need sometimes, mate. It's a double-sider, isn't it? It's a big one.
It's not double-sided. It's a big one, but it's not double-sided. It's like a sword, you know? Like a big Claymore-esque thing, but purple and a dildo.
I did enjoy that cinematic, but I don't think I'll be inviting Saints Row round for naked cuddles.
No, it definitely gets just the push. You know, if you were absolutely bevved out your mind, maybe they got a chance to come home. But, you know, with a 5 out of 10, they ain't coming home. You know?
This is a straight 5 a.m. girl for me.
It is.
It's the last option on that list, isn't it?
That's true.
5 a.m. girl. Class. So, bring it on to my marry list. And it feels really disingenuous here, but I'm not including Horizon Forbidden West in mine because there's nothing shown other than just the guy coming out saying, oh, sorry, it's been delayed, which I'm sure we're going to talk about in depth in a little moment. So instead, my marry list is going to be Call of Duty Vanguard. Call of Duty Vanguard blew my tits off. I literally cannot believe what I'm about to tell you, audience. But a couple of years ago, if you'd sat me down and said that you're going to be addicted to COD and you're going to be really looking forward to the next COD for the last 2 years in a row, I'd have told you you're full of shit. Because I walked away from Call of Duty after Black Ops 2 and didn't touch it again until Modern Warfare back in 2019. And then, even then, I didn't enjoy that game very much outside of the campaign. And then as soon as I got Cold War, I was hooked. And this feels like Cold War all over again. And to me, that is a superb recipe. Because Call of Duty, I said it loads at the start of this podcast, the early episodes, if you haven't heard them, audience, I do apologize. They're not as polished as these later ones are. But the early ones, I was constantly saying that I cannot believe how much value is in a Call of Duty game. You know, with the Dead Ops mode, the full zombies, the full campaign, a full massive multiplayer suite. And this little taste that I've had from Champion Hill, combined with what was shown in that single player demo, totally cemented that I'm a COD player now. And I cannot believe that I've done that, but I have. And I'm not going to shy away from it. There's a reason why that game sells so much each year. And it's not hype, it's because it's a fucking fantastic game. And I won't hear it any other way. Honest to God, that game, my Mario list is going to play. I'm going to play it, I know it, from release date all the way up until probably February. I know it. Cannot wait. Is that on anyone else's Mario list?
Come on. Come on, mate.
I would have been fuming if it wasn't on yours.
Mate, Champion Hill, we get those dubs. Of course it's on my freaking Mario list. Literally, I would just be echoing everything you've said, so I won't say too much. But what they showed was fucking stunning. Same story as you. I think I stopped playing, weirdly, I think I stopped playing Call of Duty earlier than you did. But I wasn't really invested. Same as you, I didn't like Modern Warfare that much. But Cold War, fuck me, brought me straight back. Got the platinum. And now I just want to do it again. This game looks stellar. This parkour in the campaign is so strange. It's not really parkour. This climbing. It's like you're playing fucking Uncharted. Destructible walls and shit. My God, this game's going to be sick. Of course I'm marrying it. It's crazy.
I'll quite happily share that wife with you. We'll be in a nice three-way relationship. And to be honest, it'd be one of those relationships where you know that she's going to look after both of us. She'll be the one getting the meals ready in the morning, and we just come down, we both just give her a kiss on each cheek, and we just walk off, and we just go home and just earn the bread for her. And she could just chill. She could just, no house, she don't have to do housework. You and me will split that. You know, we'll look after her. We'll do everything for her. She's going to be an absolute diamond.
And then as soon as we finish work and we get home, she's getting shagged.
She's getting put through the headboard, mate. Absolutely put through the headboard.
She's getting shagged. Getting shagged like 4 a.m.
Jesus Christ. I shouldn't be surprised this topic's gone this way. Phil, you're obviously the outlier here. What is your marry game?
Well, I don't think it'll be a surprise to anyone that listens to the podcast or any of you lads that Death Stranding Director's Cut is my marry for this section. I have picked out the ring, I've booked the meal, I've sorted my little speech to get down on my knee September 24th and marry the fuck out of Death Stranding Director's Cut. I cannot wait for this game. And at Gamescom, we got treated to a little bit more depth on what's actually being added to the game. It seemed really interesting, the extra weapons you're going to be having. In particular, the laser gun looks like a hell of a lot of fun. And I can't wait just to push through the extra content that's there, especially those new missions. They look interesting. They look very Metal Gear. How do you guys feel about it?
I'd say the only thing that I've got a bit of an issue with, and this is one of those things that sounds really elitist, and I don't want it to sound elitist, but there's no other way to really say it. It looks like the new tools are going to make it a lot easier than it was for us. You know?
Yeah, it's going to be, isn't it?
Being able to like catapult your like gear from like one area to another. Crossing valleys was a fucking ordeal back in the original Death Stranding.
Mate, you get a fucking jetpack.
True.
Like, you can jump off mountains now. That was the hardest part in Death Stranding, is being at that top of the mountain thinking, oh God, how do I get down from here? And trying to find all the secret routes. You know, like, part of the thing Kojima came up with was that idea that you would play, I think he coined it as strand gameplay, in the sense that people would leave markers depending on how they traversed certain terrain. So if you found a really easy way down the mountain, you would see a little arrow, or you would see, like some sort of marker anyway to be able to get through that or tackle that. Now with these added items, do what the fuck you like. Just jump off. It's fine.
Mate, I haven't even played that game yet, and I know you're bang on because I was watching this conference with Davey, and as soon as that little hover pack came out, all I heard was, "Oh!" He was so excited. He was like, "Oh my god!"
Yeah, it's going to save a lot of time.
Oh, there's nothing worse though than when you're like, you've only got limited resources and you're trying to get down a mountain and you build this entire structure to get down, and you realize that you fucked yourself because you're going to put yourself in like water, or you're going to do something to like ruin all your cargo, and then you got to go all the way back up, unbuild everything, and then think, where do I go from here? Consult the map. Now, it could be, Phil, that maybe you and me are wrong on this. Maybe this is like end game equipment. That this is stuff you get very late. In which case then, no bother. But that cargo catapult in particular, let alone the jetpack, oh, Jesus Christ, that's going to solve so many problems.
It didn't seem like it to me when I was watching the intro video, because it seemed like a lot of the stuff they were showing you at earlier points within the maps. But that might be because they're maybe not trying to give away too much of the story. Not that I think they could, just by showing you jumping off a mountain. But at the same time, you're 100% right. If this is endgame content, then fair enough. You can work up to it. But it all depends when, new players like Spencer get it.
Yeah, I suppose we'll have to wait till the game comes out in a couple of weeks' time and then I get your verdicts on it. Especially yourself, Phil. It'd be really good to hear your insight coming from the base experience. You're starting brand new, fresh again on PS5, aren't you?
Yeah, I'll be playing it through probably from the start again with the new weaponry, as well as playing it with my save. Because I just love the game so much. I'll continue with my save, see what that experience is like, and then I'll probably play it through again.
That'd be really interesting, definitely.
Yeah, so another thing that sort of was highlighted during Gamescom was the ability to sort of compete against people. And I think Kojima has always had that idea that Death Stranding, as lonely as it is walking around those mountains, trying to deliver your cargo, and it does get really, really, because there's no NPCs in the game, apart from when you get to the delivery points, and those are only holograms anyway, that he's trying to build a community by people competing for things. So in the missions themselves, you'll be getting ratings. When you go down to the basement, to the gun shop or the range, you'll be given a rating, and you'll be trying to get to the top 1% in the world at a certain range. And the same with the fragile race circuit. So that's going to be an interesting kind of take on Kojima's initial idea to make more of a community around this game.
No, definitely. And I think what's really interesting is that when we look back at the coverage we've kind of put onto Death Stranding, we've been nothing but overly positive on this game. And I think literally if they had just put out the base experience in 60, 4K, I'd have been quite happy. But the extra bits that Kojima's put in now to change the actual gameplay itself, change the base experience, and to add in this extra content, extra missions, extra story stuff, it's a fantastic purchase for literally anybody who's got a PlayStation 5.
And what is that dolphin, man? I know we had. Oh, I don't want to give it away. Spencer hasn't played it, has he? But there's a dolphin at the end of that.
Surely
intro.
it's a killer whale, right? Surely it's a whale.
It looks like the beak on it looks more like a dolphin than a whale to me.
I'm calling it a whale. I'm
going dolphin. I'm going dolphin. Big ass dolphin.
Shot on this?
Sure. For the next episode or the episode after the 24th, if it's a dolphin, then you can take a shot. If it's a big ass whale, I'll take a shot.
I'm classing big ass whales anything from killer whale up. So
Sure,
you don't get
sure.
killer whales part of your dolphin.
You could just have whale. I'll just have dolphin. It can be any dolphin.
Okay, all right, deal.
It looks like a dolphin. It's definitely a big ass dolphin. But Davey, what's on your kill list?
So I'm looking at the list, and obviously the list of games that Spencer read out wasn't the full list of games. There was 40-odd games shown, and I only listed the games in the doc that I thought had any interest, and the guys had added their own ones into that as well. So it turns out we've already cut down a massive amount of this list. Now, when I look back over this conference, the only game that stands out to me that is definitely on my kill list, and surprisingly it's on there, is Far Cry 6. That game, I thought, showed like a piece of shit in this conference. I thought it looked dated. I thought it looked really old. It looked like a PS4 game. And I just don't care enough to get it day one.
It did look to me that they spent all the money hiring the guy from Breaking Bad to do the story part, right? That seemed to be quite good, but I do agree with you. Everything else seemed to be a step down.
What's weird is that the previous times this game has been shown, it's always looked okay. It's not looked revolutionary. It's not looked like amazing or anything, but it's always looked all right. But this time it just looked rough. It looked really, really, really grim. The amount of times that me and Spence were watching it, I was like, ooh, look at that fire. Oh, look at that face. Oh, look at this. Look at that. Look at this and the other. It was all the time. And that game to me just looks like as if it's from a previous generation. And I got better things to play day one than that. I've got Far Cry 5. I'll just play that. It looks like that game. Again, doesn't look any better for being on next-gen hardware. I can just bin it off.
Yeah, it's my kill as well, isn't it? I mean, I'm looking through this list and I thought, what out of this list, what would I usually buy? And not gonna, I haven't played Far Cry since Far Cry 3, but Far Cry 3 blew me away. But the thing is, with Far Cry 6, fam, I've had fucking enough. They've shown us 76 fucking trailers in like 3 conventions. I'm sick of this fucking game. I may as well. You don't need to play it. Just watch every trailer and you got the full experience. I'm sick of it. And then the new trailer as well they showed, like you said, looks like arse.
It does.
I do not care. They've shown me so much and there are so many other better games. Fuck this game, man. Unless this game is 80 hours long, they've given everything away. I've seen everything. There's 20 hours worth of trailers. I'm good. I was excited about it when they showed the little dog. And since then, there's been 16 more trailers. And nah, fuck me, man. Far Cry 6 is gone. It's murdered. It's not even killed. I'm killing it. It's fucking... I'm not even going to bury it. I'm going to chuck it in my room and watch it rot.
Jesus Christ, that's dark. Oh my God. Well, no surprise you and me agreeing on this, but it's just mad though, isn't it? I don't know how the visual fidelity has just gone downhill from the last presentation. Like, they obviously haven't rushed out these trailers. They've been putting them out every time. I swear we saw it at the Game Awards, the mid-year Game Awards thing. We saw it like 10 times. So we're literally seeing this more than anything else. It's in every single fucking conference. It's like, just give it a rest. We know it's coming out. Unless they don't have the pre-orders there, so they're like, just put it in again. Just shot something together. They're like, we've only got PS4 footage. I don't care. Just put it out. Right? Unless they're in that situation, I don't know why they've made this farce in having it like it is, because it's beating me down. Like you're saying, Spence, it is just beating me down to the point where I'm not even going to say, fine, I'll play you. I'll just be like, no, just kill me. Just kill me, because I do not want to play it. I just do not want to. Phil, I take it you're the outlier on this again?
I mean, I'm starting to think you guys hang out together too much. Because all your views are very similar.
It's a lot.
So
it's a good amount of time.
Audience, you're blessed. I'm on the podcast. I'm going to come out with something different. My kill is Lego Star Wars: The Skywalker Saga. I am done with Lego games. I think I played one and I was done with it. I think I played the Marvel one on the Xbox originally. And I don't need another Lego game in my life. I've heard they're brilliant. But to play this again and it be Star Wars again, it's just madness. Nothing in that game attracts me to want to make that purchase. I don't like Star Wars anyway. I'm much more of a Star Trek guy. I'm sure that's going to split the audience. But for me, Lego Star Wars: The Skywalker Saga, I'm going to kill that game. I do not want it in my life.
I was only thinking about this the other day. When I bought my PS4, I got Marvel Superheroes, the Lego game.
I think that's the one I played, yeah.
It was fantastic.
They were great, but...
It was a brilliant game. I got the platinum in that game. I loved it. But, much like yourself, I don't know if I'm interested enough to buy a Lego game. There's too much competition out there for me to want to get in and buy it. Unless it comes in like a really good time, but there's nothing out. But in looking at Death Month alone, I think I'm going to have a pretty big backlog built up. So I don't think that's going to happen. But no, I can see that. I can see your points there.
How about you, Spence? Is this something that you're interested in? Do you play Lego games?
I played Well, when I was a kid, I played fucking surprise Lego Star Wars.
So you're a Star Wars fan. You know, you're the target market.
Mate, I was a kid. My mum bought it for me, mate. I do like Star Wars. I like Star Wars a lot. I'm not a big fan. And obviously, I was a kid. My mum's buying me games. I've never even been in game. But yeah, it was a great game. It was a great game. I'm sure this one's going to be even better. The characters and stuff are a lot more emotive now. But I've played that. I played Lego Harry Potter. I'm good, man. Every Lego game they just have like obviously gimmicks and stuff for the franchise that it's doing. But other than that, it's just little gems and stuff you pick up, and I can't be arsed, man. Lego. Who's playing Lego games after the age of 13?
As you said, I'm sure it's going to be great. And some of the comedy in the Lego games is brilliant. And I think that's the only factor that I would possibly enjoy playing through a Lego game is for those kind of deep references to either Lego or the subject matter. So when it's a Marvel game, I'm picking up on all the kind of Easter eggs they're putting into the jokes, right? And I'm enjoying all that. But I hate Star Wars. So I'm not going to get any of the jokes. So for me, yeah, it's a kill. Big kill.
So now we got our Shag Marry Kills out of the way. Guys, what's your rating on the overall conference?
I don't know.
You seem defeated.
I feel defeated, man. I'm looking at the list and I'm just thinking, fuck, man. I don't care. I didn't care about the conference at all. It was 2 fucking hours long and we saw nothing. The thing I was most excited for was Call of Duty and Lindsay Sterling's live performance. That was it. It's like a 5, man. I mean, Call of Duty hyped it up, but then we haven't even mentioned this. Following Call of Duty was a Halo trailer. They said we're about to see a glimpse of the Halo multiplayer. They showed a cutscene, a cinematic cutscene, and then showed a new controller and a new console. They didn't fucking show anything about the game that's supposed to be coming out freaking God knows when.
I feel really sorry for the Xbox fans because that was insulting to me. I can't believe
it's embarrassing.
It is embarrassing. We're a couple of months away and we haven't seen any of the campaign footage. We've literally seen nothing.
Doesn't exist. No, they confirmed campaign and multiplayer releasing at the same time. That's one thing they said. But then they didn't show any of it. Whereas that was following Call of Duty. Call of Duty's entire level and them announcing a beta or an alpha of Champion Hill that was fucking fantastic. I know, granted, the Xbox beta was fantastic as well, and they get that, the Halo beta. But that was an embarrassing showcase. I was looking forward to seeing Halo, even though I'm not going to get it. I was looking forward to seeing it because Xbox deserve a win. This is literally a 4 or a 5 showcase in my books. There was nothing amazing for me other than COD. And that is it.
What about yourself, Phil?
Well, I only caught up on the show today, actually, because I have had a busy couple of 2 weeks trying to do all the family things, trying to tick all those boxes when you have time off. For me, this conference didn't really bring anything new to the table. The games I've mentioned, or the 2 games I've mentioned, where I'm shagging the turtles, hello, and I'm marrying Death Stranding, I was going to do that anyway. This isn't bringing anything new to the table for me, apart from making me realize that I really hate Star Wars games and Lego games. I think there is, as much as it gives us a great topic to talk about, and we always love, months where we have conferences, there's been quite a lot of conferences, like recently, and big announcements, and this just didn't bring anything new to the table for me.
So what's your rating?
I'm probably just going to sit around, like, it had Death Stranding, so it gets an extra mark, so give it a 6.
Fair.
6.
Fair, wow. That's quite big. I echo both of your guys' thoughts, to be honest with you. I think this conference was... I mean, Gamescom, let's think back, right? Gamescom's never one of those that you go to for hype announcements. It's always one of those conferences for updates, right? And it's normally because it's situated between E3 and Tokyo Game Show. So you kind of get that in-between moment where you get, like, nothing really. Nothing of any real substance. I don't normally even tune into it, but it's just the fact that Jeff Keighley was putting it together, and I got to say, he was looking pretty fire this conference. I mean, before I get into the rating on the overall conference, I'm going to give him a solid 8 out of 10 look. I think he was looking like hot fire.
Phil's hand went straight up.
That's fine. We'll move on. From my views about his choice of dress. Yeah.
I think he was looking great. But yeah, I was kind of excited about this one because obviously they said 2 hours, It's going to be 40 odd games shown. You know, it's going to be all this, it's going to be all that. It's going to be singing and dancing, whatever. It was boring as shit. Like Spence said, it was so boring. It just did not respect your time in any way. So much dead air, so much that just didn't need to be there that was. It was, frankly, a waste of my time. And I think for me, I'm going to rate it a 4. 4 out of 10. I think for as hype as COD was, and for as hype as the new Marvel game, which looks really, really good. Obviously, we haven't talked about it because of the way we structured this show, but that Marvel Midnight Suns really piqued my interest. I think it looks really, really cool. I can't wait to see some more of that, actually, and see if that's going to end up winding up in my Mario Shag list in the future. But I just think it was just a waste of my time. And I think anytime you get a conference like that, it just reminded me of some of the darker days we had at E3, where we had some of those conferences that you just think, why? Why? If this was a nice hour long, this could have been a really fast-fitting conference. And so, yeah, I don't think it was very good. But there was one thing in there that I do want to bring up on this topic, and that is with the Horizon delay. So Horizon was announced that it has been delayed out of this year. It's now coming out on the 18th of February 2022.
Did we not have some sort of shot on this on a previous podcast where Spencer and myself both said that this was going to be delayed till the next year?
We did. But there was some more to this.
Oh God!
There was some
How
more.
are you getting out of jail this time?
I'm not going down on my own here, because there's no way that both of you are in the middle of this release date. We each gave a prediction for where it was going to be, and we put a shot on the line. Now, listener, I'm going to take one for the team. I'm going to listen back and find that topic now, and we're going to decide who needs to take a shot with me. So I definitely need one, because I said no, it's not getting delayed.
You said this year.
I did say this year. I did.
Mad.
I did.
You're a man.
So I'm completely wrong. So I got to take a shot, but someone's coming down with me. So listener, in listening back, turns out I'm off the hook. There was no shots put on the line for it. I am off the hook. It's looking all good, baby.
But you still got it wrong, though, didn't you, mate?
Yeah, it's totally miles off.
Twice in the episode, you've admitted you're wrong. So I think that's coming towards you getting a shot.
It's actually a hat trick, because in that same episode last time I said we're going to get a state of play coming up soon. You know, it's all coming along. But, you know, we'll bundle it out all together. I said that in the same topic last episode. So it's fine. It's fine. We'll let it slide. But the question I want to ask you guys is, with Horizon now getting delayed, they've actually backed up on themselves on the next Sony-backed game, which is Sifu, which is coming out 4 days later. What do you reckon is going on there with this whole scheduling lock? Because it looks like an absolute fucking mess to me.
It kind of feels to me that games like Horizon, games like God of War, they can kind of release when they're ready. They have more allowances from Sony. And that's why you're seeing this date be so close to something else Sony is pushing within Sifu. That's my opinion on it.
Do you think this is going to be to the detriment of Sifu?
I think they're wildly different games. So I don't really think there's going to be much crossover. I'm going to be buying both, right? But we do this podcast, and I happen to quite like PlayStation.
Do you? You never own it. I think it's definitely a detriment to Sifu. Like, I do plan to get both games, but if they're coming out at the same time, I'm in no rush to buy Sifu. Horizon's going to be like a fucking God knows however long game. I'll be busy. And then when I'm done, I'll buy Sifu, or maybe another game will come out by then and I'll be too distracted. That's
you
the
wouldn't
issue.
call Sifu a AAA title, though, really, would you? It hasn't had
Not
that
at all,
budget
no.
behind it. So I see them as very different games, and that's why I would have time for both of them. He says as he laughs.
You don't have time for one, mate. What do you mean? Yeah, it's crazy.
I got to kind of agree on this with Spence, to be honest with you.
Of course you would.
I know. But I think whenever you've got a game that's going to bundle up against another, you've only got so much time in the press. You've only got so much coverage that you can get out there. And when you're competing against a game of that level, you wouldn't want to be anywhere near it. It's the same way that nothing releases around side COD every year. You just don't want to compete with it. And unfortunately, it looks like the PlayStation have just shot themselves in the foot here, because they've obviously got Gran Turismo scheduled for later on next year. They got God of War scheduled for whenever the fuck that comes out next year. And they thought, well, Horizon's our next big tentpole game. We got to put it somewhere. We don't want to go in January. We got Elden Ring out. We got whatever it is. The team needs all the time we can give them. It just turns out that Sifu's going to be the one that pays the price. And I feel really sorry for him. Because, what you're going to see, you're going to go on IGN. You're not going to see Sifu, top 10 best combos. You're going to see Horizon, this is the best weapon to use against this enemy. This is where to find this armor piece. You're not going to see that kind of level of coverage the game may have had without it. I do feel really sorry for Sifu. I think it's a blunder on PlayStation. I really do. But listen, I'd love to know what you think about this. Do you think that Sifu is going to be negatively impacted by the Horizon delay? Write into the email pswetrust@gmail.com.
You can join us on the Reddit. The URL will be in the description below.
And also feel free to reach out to us on Twitter @InPSWeTrust or any of our individual Twitter accounts.
So, Davey, I've noticed on your YouTube, you've got up a pre-release review of the game Tormented Souls. So you were lucky enough, weren't you, to get a code to be able to review this game? And that's up on your YouTube at the moment.
That's right, yeah. So I had the game on the 23rd of August, and it came out for everyone on the 27th. So I had it a few days early. And it's the first time it's ever happened.
So if people want to check out that review, I know you've done a lot of videos and we've talked about it previously for the game that we cannot mention on this podcast, at least in this section anyway. So if people did want to catch up on your Tormented Souls reviews and your other kind of deep dives into video games, what is that URL?
So you can just go onto YouTube and just type in SSJ Davey and you'll find my YouTube on there.
So mate, I got a few questions for you.
Okay, bring it on.
Because this is quite an interesting thing. This is the first time I think. I mean, I've played games prior to release, but you've had to do it as a review. That's quite interesting. What was it like, really, to play a game prior to release? And obviously, it's a puzzle game, so there's no help, no walkthroughs, no guides. And also, like, how did you fare with that? And also, was it a bit nostalgic? Because back in there weren't any. So how was that experience?
Yeah, do you know what? It was actually really, really interesting. So the first thing I'll kind of shove out there for the audience is that there's no trophy list. So that blew my tits off. Because normally you go into a game and you check the trophy list, right? Or that's what I do anyway. And I'm sure you're the same, Spence, aren't you?
Yeah, of course.
And so there wasn't one. Immediately that kind of changes how you play the game. Because when you start a game up and you can see what the trophy list is, you'll see like kill 50 enemies with this gun, kill 50 enemies with this gun. And so you'll unknowingly change how you go about that first playthrough to try and maximize your trophy potential. Well, that's what I do. There wasn't any of that. So it was just a pure experience. It was just a pure experience like I was playing on PS2. Very, very weird. When it comes to the puzzles, Jesus Christ, it was hard. It was so hard. I mean, the puzzles on this game, imagine the game we can't mention, the first entry, right? Imagine that fused with Silent Hill, fused with Alone in the Dark, fused with just use your actual fucking brain. And it was so difficult to do. My total runtime came to about 11 hours, and I swear 3 hours of that was staring at the screen.
I know when we've talked about games like this previously, and specifically to that title that we cannot mention on the podcast, and we've mentioned that sort of newer games, they are much easier. But do you think newer games are easier, or is it just your access to kind of information about those games? As you're talking about the trophies, you're talking about you can just Google a walkthrough, right, and just get to the puzzle, get to the item you need to find in the house or wherever you are in these games.
I think a lot of modern games, they hold your hand. And so a lot of it is very on the nose, very basic, very first thing you check is where the answer is. And Tormented Souls takes it very much back to the old school style of the game that we can't mention. Oh my God, it slipped up. This is going to be so tricky. This whole thing is going to be a nightmare, by the way, listener, for us. So yeah, it's taking it all the way back to that first entry, which is just so... If you don't understand how that series works, it's very difficult for your first entry because you don't know what to do, you don't know where to go, it kind of feels a bit aimless. But when you've played a couple in that series, it feels very natural. This is like that, but with the mixture of Silent Hill into the mix where it puts logic in there, Holy hell. It meant that I was double doubting myself on how to solve a particular puzzle.
It's a very pure way of playing a game, isn't it, really? I quite like that experience, really.
It really was. What's crazy is that you get stuck and you think, surely someone's got something out there, right? Someone's leaked something. And so you type in like Tormented Souls X puzzle solution, right? And there's nothing. There's literally nothing on the internet. There's no reviews, there's nothing. And you think, holy shit, I'm just on my own. I tell you what, I would never have got past one section of the game if I didn't reach out to someone who I knew was reviewing it. There is one section of the game that there was this moment where the game went Dark Souls on me. It told me what I had to do in the most random way possible. It told me what I need to do, like where I need to go, but in a riddle, almost. And I had literally no idea. I spent 2 hours on that before I thought, I'm never going to be able to review this, like ever, unless I reach out. So I reached out to a guy who posted a review early, the first person who ever posted a review up for this game. He posted it on the Tuesday. So we all had our codes on the Monday, so he must have been a full-time reviewer. And I posted it up, and when he gave me a solution, it wasn't like one of those things you're like, oh, Jesus. I literally would never have got it. Never in a million years. But apart from that, the rest of the game, I got through okay. Now, I didn't do it on my own. I had a lot of help with both Spencer screen sharing and my wife. Because otherwise, I don't think I would have done this. Or I would have, but it probably would take me an extra week on top of my actual gameplay.
Do you have a different opinion now of game reviewers in the sense that they are probably pretty good at video games and working out puzzles? Otherwise, they wouldn't be able to, as you said, complete these titles.
No. In fact, it's actually doubled down on my original stance. Because while I was on there, as soon as the trophies went live, they went live the day before this game got released to the public. And then all my trophies that I'd already accumulated over the game were there for me to view. I could view the trophy completion. So I could view the percentage of players that had this game, and which is obviously only reviewers, because it went out to all people to review it. And the trophy percentage, have a guess what it is, lads. Guess what the completion rate was for this.
Well, it sounds like it's going to be very low. So let's say 10%.
Spence, what do you reckon?
I'm going to say 5.
Yeah, it's 3.5%.
Oh, wow.
3.5% completed it. Not getting the platinum, not doing anything crazy, just completing the game, 3.5%. And that is based just on reviewers up until Thursday when the trophies went live. And so then on the Friday, I checked it just to see if maybe that had an impact, obviously with the public, and obviously it would do. So it drove it down to like a 1.2 or something at that point when it was in the public's hands. But just for reviewers, 3.5. Sickening.
So what you're saying, just to recap, is that the people that are guiding our purchasing decisions aren't actually completing the games that they're trying to sell you.
Yes, that's exactly what I'm saying. That's exactly what I'm saying. Now, I've only got this game to go off. So it's not like as if I've been able to see this be a concurrent theme across multiple games. I don't have that yet. But based on this experience, it's actually disgusting.
Do you think this is going to be a little like the Magic Circle? Once you say anything negative about game reviewers, you get kicked out and you'll never get a review code. So be careful what you say.
I honestly don't care.
Shots fired! Shots fired!
What was also a bit of an eye-opener on this is that while I was playing it, patches were happening. And so as I was playing the game, the following day I'd boot up. And obviously I work full-time. I'm not a full-time reviewer. So the game took me 11 hours to wrap. That took me pretty much a week to be able to get that done. It took me like 5 days. And so what would happen is that these patches would fundamentally change the game. So I'd start it and I'd have one experience. The next time, puzzles will be moved. Items would be moved. Things that were in one place are now in another. And so it actually made it a lot harder than it would have done if I'd started it on release day. Because things that were there are now not there. Now I got duplicates of certain items, which weren't there before, which I shouldn't have duplicates of. And all these different things that kind of got thrown up into the mix. So I can see why there's some reviewers that have issues with the game that then when it ggets released to the public, they have a totally different experience. I can definitely see that logic to it.
It does feel like you've played this game on hard mode, though, because it is a specific, like, This is the genre of game which you don't want things to change.
Exactly, yeah, and it is, and it was all moved around. Now, did it affect my experience too much? No, because I kind of could guess what was happening with the patches that were going live. So no, and it didn't. And because I was kind of like a couple of steps ahead with the items that I had already found across the environment, it didn't have any negative impact on my actual gameplay other than throwing in spanners into the works and doubting your own kind of sanity when it came to finishing a puzzle. You think, I found that item there, but that I've already got that item and I've already used that item in the game. That's not going to reappear. And then you start thinking to yourself, could that potentially be the puzzle solution that I'm looking at for the last hour? And you do get this self-doubt that kind of builds in, but that was overcome pretty quickly, to be fair. That wasn't too much of a negative. But it is quite interesting. I mean, there's a few things that I've learned in doing this that I think would be quite interesting to keep track on going forward if I get any future codes. And I'll certainly let the audience know every time I've got one and what the experience was, because I think it's just a good little peek behind the curtain. So one thing that I see a lot of reviewers get labeled with is this whole bought for reviews. So I thought I'd show you guys kind of what the embargo was, so you can know what my rules are for playing this game and for posting it. Now, I'm not going to read the whole thing. I'm not going to do anything like that, but this is the general gist of it. And the embargo says 20th of August, review content only, no gameplay. Short clips of contextual footage may be used if review videos. In review videos. However, it must not show puzzle solutions or story spoilers. Fair enough. Okay.
Makes sense.
27th, which is when the game comes out, all content including gameplay footage and streaming. And that's it. That's the embargo. That's as simple as it is. So I think sometimes when people go down this rhetoric where they think that some embargoes are there to, deceive the public or anything like that, there may be those. But in terms of this scenario, it was a very open, very clear, very easy to reference. There was nothing in there that says, I'm getting this code so I have to say a certain thing or I have to say these things. Nothing like that. Just very open. Say whatever you want. Just please don't spoil the game before it comes out. And that's it.
It's a lot simpler than how I expected the embargo to be. From what you're saying, obviously this is just your experience with this developer. Of course, other developers could be a lot more loaded in the way that they give out these embargoes to the reviewers.
100%. And this is why this is something now going forward that I really want to keep an eye on. Because after last week, when we were talking about how game reviewers, it might have been last week, it might have been the week before, we were talking about how game reviewers, play it on easy and they kind of skate through it and they don't have the full experience, but they put a review up. All this stuff, not being transparent. Seeing that trophy completion rate just set alarm bells off in me, where I'm thinking, this is just criminal. So this is something I want to keep an eye on. And hopefully, as I gain, or if I get more and more access to different games and to different content, things like that, I'll be keeping it transparent on the level with you guys and with our audience, so that you guys get a little peek behind the curtain about what's going on. And then we can ask better for people. It
is interesting because you don't tend to find this kind of information out there. People tend not to talk about the embargoes as much. They don't tend to go in depth as you are with this.
No, and I think it's just important because at the end of the day, the biggest thing is trust in your audience. And I'm not going to bullshit you guys. I want to tell you guys how it is so that then if I'm hyping up something and I've been given a code, I'm not, we've not been bought or any of that bullshit. But it also just means that you can just ask more from your reviewer. And I suppose the important thing to note is trophies and everything, unless they hide them, unless they're privatized, which that should set off warning flags in itself from an individual, you can find them. So with the reviewer, you can find their trophy list and you could just have a look yourself. And if they reviewed a game and then just not actually completed it, because the trophy list would tell the story. So ask more from the people that you review games for. And if there's someone that you think is sus and they got this trophy list on private, I'm telling you straight off the bat, they haven't completed that game. Because why wouldn't they have it public?
Fair point. That's a thing to look out for in the future, and I will be doing that. I'm taking advice from my own podcast.
You guys got any more questions to ask?
I don't really have any more questions, but after hearing you say it's 3.5% reviewers, everything you boys have said is bang on. It is disgusting. But like you said, this game, It took you 11 hours to beat, and I watched you play it. I know for a fact there were multiple hours where you were just stuck. So that game can probably be beaten in like 4 or 5 hours. A normal job is, 8 hours a day? Some of these people were reviewing this game for a week, and they put, 2 or 3 hours in a game? In a week to review a game? That is fucking stupid. It's your job. If your career is to review games, give it the time it deserves. Try and give your audience the attention they deserve and your genuine thoughts on the product, not a piece of the product. It is disgusting to me that is actually what it is.
Right, guys, so I mentioned about a competition that I got going on, and this is tied in with my YouTube, so you've got kind of less chance than you do if you just listen to the podcast, but that's just the way it is. So I've got a Gleam link, which I'll be posting in the description of the podcast below. Click on the Gleam link, and you can win yourself the physical copy of Tormented Souls that I own. So because I got sent a review code, I'd already pre-ordered the game physically, and that is on the way to me. So as soon as it arrives on my door and the competition closes, which will be in a week from the video going live on my YouTube, whoever wins that competition will win my physical copy of Tormented Souls. As I said, the Gleam link is in the description of the podcast, so check it out, enter, and good luck. The last topic of the evening, topic 3, we all know that Fortnite loves an event. You know, they team up with loads of DJs, team up with Marvel, loads of different companies, and they got loads of crossovers with all their characters that are included in the game. But, guys, did you know that they've teamed up with Martin Luther King? They've got a collab at the moment where it's called a March Through Time event. Now, it has the iconic speech from Martin Luther King delivered in full. Certain emotes when you get into the game are completely disabled, and the whole point of it really is that there's 10 mini games that you can complete, all which, when you complete them, you receive a spray paint Washington, D.C. 1963 Epic and Fortnite. This has been in association with Time magazine, so it's quite a high profile event, this, in Fortnite. What are your thoughts on having this kind of political statement in a game, let alone in Fortnite?
Yeah, I heard about this. I saw this on Twitter. And, I mean, I'm fine with politics in games if it fits the game. And Fortnite, it seems like a game that can do more or less everything at this point. And they've done shows, live events, politics, why not? They can do whatever they want. My only concern, is it the right audience? I don't really think it is. The audience for Fortnite is, well, my nephew plays it, he's 10. He doesn't give a fuck. All he does is L dance whenever he comes over. Or none of these kids that are playing this game are exactly... They'll do it for the spray, I'm sure. They're not going to learn anything from it.
Do you not think? That's my biggest thing. Like, don't you think that the audience, the audience age is a big component to this?
It's huge, but not in the right way. I'm sure they're trying to get the lesson across. But if I was playing this game, say I was like 11 or 12, whatever, playing Fortnite, I would just turn the game volume down and blast Spotify whilst I'm playing the minigame. What? Are you serious?
So insulting. Oh my god.
You're a kid. They don't care about politics. You know what I mean? It's not the right audience. If I was older and I wanted to like educate myself a bit better, yeah, I'd play it and listen to it, and I'm sure I'd enjoy it as well. But as a kid, they don't give a fuck. They're listening to freaking KSI whilst doing mini games just to get a spray they don't care about. That's all it is. I just think it's the wrong... To be fair, I don't know what other game they could put it in, but it's just the wrong audience, wrong demographic, really.
What about yourself, Phil?
I'm exactly the same as Spencer. I don't understand why this is in Fortnite. The audience, for me, doesn't make sense. Like, I get what you were saying about age. They're the impressionable age. So this is, it's a huge audience. This is where to get in. But someone like Martin Luther King, does that resonate with any of you guys? It doesn't for me. And to be in Fortnite, it just feels like a mad thing.
I think now it's a really important time now. You got to think, there's a massive civil rights movement which has been happening in our generation now with, gender politics and with women and women's rights and things like that. And with the BLM movement from last year.
Maybe they should put it in a Blizzard game.
Oh, jeez.
Hi-yo!
Oh, can you imagine the hypocrisy? Oh, my God.
In Diablo 2 Remastered, you go around the corner into one of the caves, into one of the dens, And it's just a huge like women's rights kind of poster. Be wicked.
Jesus. Oh my god, I wouldn't put it past them as well. Blizzard are always hyping up about Overwatch's diversity, and then you see what they're doing and you think, oh my god, it's just a load of bullshit.
It'd be do you know what they'd call it as well? The Cosby Den.
It would, yeah, the Cosby Cave.
Cosby Caves.
Getting there for your
It'd be
big loot.
fucked. It'd be fucked.
But no, I'm kind of falling on a different path to this from you guys, to be honest, because kids these days are getting a different level of education than we were. Now, I don't know about this country, but in America, I know that they're doing, and I've seen things on Twitter and I've seen things on different Facebooks and things like that, where there's like classrooms where they're getting them to reenact the slave trade, and they're getting them to reenact what it was like having to sit at the back of the bus in the 60s in America, and having different kind of washrooms and different things like that. So I think when you combine that with what they're learning in school to then what they're doing in Fortnite, I think that could be the thing that actually makes it click for them. Because I was just in the playground today with my son, and all I heard was there was kids where they were playing Who's the Imposter, right? And they were playing, oh, he's sus, and they're sitting around a little table and they're calling emergency meetings, right? Or they're going onto a climbing frame and they're pretending like it's Fortnite. And so kids are like addicted to these games to a level that when we were kids, we were doing that to, you know, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles or to Dragon Ball. I remember there was 2 kids in secondary school in year 7 who would sit across each other and have mind battles, like in Dragon Ball Z. And I was like, that's lame as fuck, right? I'm massively in Dragon Ball. I was like, I'm not doing that. I'm just going to sit in there, stare in the mirror and just pretend that I can go Super Saiyan. And it just never happened for me.
You're telling me that wasn't you in the classroom?
I definitely wasn't doing mind games, I'm telling you that. But
No?
I did try turn to a Super Saiyan at multiple times over my life. And it's never happened. It's just never happened.
You've been on a few nights out where you've tried to turn Super Saiyan.
It's just never hitting. I don't know what my trigger is to make me go Super Saiyan, but it's just not happening.
Keep trying, mate. You'll make it one day.
I'm never going to give up. I'm never going to give up.
We'll update our listeners when it happens.
They'll know when it happens because I'll be massively rich because I'll just have invaded some country and stole everything they got. I'll be straight villain. I know it. I know I'll be villain immediate. If I had that kind of power, no one's stopping me.
You definitely wouldn't get a day in Fortnite then.
No, definitely not. Definitely wouldn't. But this is why I'm thinking that going back to my actual point here is that I think this is a really good thing because these kids are mega impressionable. And if you can get them, even if you got only a couple of them to pay attention to this and to hear this speech, I think that's something that's really powerful. I think the way they've done it, where they've got museum pieces spaced around, I think is really good. Now, the only thing I think doesn't hit quite right, why have they let custom skins in? I don't need to see Superman in there and fucking Rick and Morty dossing about next to, you know, a random guy from Fortnite. Why didn't they just put everyone in just in default skins in this event? I don't get that at all. It just seems so off to me.
Yeah, it's a bit mad. It's a bit mad. There's going to be people dressed as pink bunnies and pink teddy bears. That is. I thought by reading this list we've written down, I thought they kind of sorted it quite well because getting rid of emotes is the best thing they could do. Because if people are going up to a Martin Luther King statue and L dancing, that is the worst thing I could possibly ever imagine. But even then, yeah, costumes are a nightmare. The issue with this is it's good. It is a good idea, but it has to be fun for kids to get, you know, changed by it. And they've limited them so much already by getting rid of the emotes and creative mode. There is no combat. It's stuck in creative mode and there are no emotes. That's getting rid of half of the fun of Fortnite.
It does feel a little bit like they're trying to force you to learn here. And there's going to be that demographic. There's going to be that section that play Fortnite and they rebel. They look at this as a way to kind of take the piss, you know, to come in with weird and wacky skins, or, you know, if there was the emotes enabled, they would be the ones on YouTube doing all the emotes in front of the pictures of Martin Luther King.
Well, I mean, people are dickheads. You get people who go to the Holocaust Museum and they're like taking a selfie, like smiling, like, you know, climbing on top of one of the fucking gas chambers. People are dickheads, right? People are just actually dicks. And let alone when you put that into the body of like a 10-year-old. Oh, 10-year-olds are the worst, man. They are literally the worst. They're savage. They are literally like little savages. They don't know what the fuck they're doing, but they think they know it all. And that doesn't go away until they hit probably 20. Like, honestly, up until that point, everyone's a dickhead.
I don't think they understand what they're kind of talking about to the level, and they can offend people way worse than they think they're being offensive. Because I've seen a lot to do with so I follow an org, and they have a Fortnite player, a very famous Fortnite player, and some of the comments are very racist, sexist. You get all that out of that crowd, so you're only going to find that in this event with Martin Luther King, and that's the danger for me.
Yeah. The more we're talking about this, the more I'm kind of getting brought around on this, actually, because I originally went in this with the naive view, which probably Time and Epic went into, thinking, yeah, this would be a really good way for having a young, impressionable crowd to make a difference. But maybe it is the wrong crowd. Maybe they're too young.
But what is the right crowd? What game are you seeing it in? Are you seeing it in the next CSGO?
This is the problem, isn't it? Like, where do you put it? What do you do? I mean, would it have made more sense for them to have teamed up with like PlayStation and put it across on PS4, have custom themes like they've done before, or have it so that when you boot up your PlayStation, it automatically starts the speech or something? I
mean, I wouldn't like that. Not gonna lie, it'd be a bit peak if I'm booting up after a hard day's work to play freaking Doki V. I wouldn't want to start listening to Oliver King, but I just think there might be a game somewhere where it works, but I cannot think of it. Leave it in school, leave it online, not in games where people are going to have fun, because I understand what they're trying to do. It's a bold and brave attempt at educating people, but I just don't think it's very smart, at all.
We did see a glimpse of this, though, within the Miles Morales Spider-Man, didn't we, with the Black Lives Matter movement, and that being in the game, but it didn't really force you to take notice of it. I know it was a trophy, wasn't it, or a way to get a skin at a certain point within the game, but it wasn't like you definitely need to do this within the game. So I like that approach, because that seemed to be a lot more hands-off than maybe what this is within Fortnite.
Yeah, I think you're right on that one. I really do. I thought that BLM nod made sense to the character. I mean, when we talked about this on the spoiler cast that we did for Miles Morales very early in our podcast run, we spoke about how that we weren't bothered by that we thought it was a really good inclusion. It made sense for the overall character and the story that was being presented and everything, and it would have felt weird for it not to be there. I think that with the way Fortnite is going, where they're having these events, and this is happening more and more in games. I mean, we heard in Gamescom, there's that one that Deadmau5 is doing, where he's got that event in his kind of custom game thing that he's doing. God knows whatever the hell that game looked like a piece of shit, so I won't be checking that out. These events seem to be springing up all the time. And I think having a way to be able to put a social message out there, which is a good social message, and not one that's like, can be interpreted different ways. Martin Luther King speech, it's so poignant that it's effective, but I kind of coming down with you guys on this. The more we're talking about it, I don't know where you put it in there, that it's something that people can search out if they want to, but it not feel like it's being shoved down your throat. And that's the tricky thing, because for myself, I'd actually like to go into this event myself and experience it, but I'm not installing Fortnite. So it's annoying. If it was just on the PlayStation Store and I could download it and I can go into it and I can experience this kind of like museum quality piece, that would work great for me. And I'd thoroughly want to do that. But I'm not booting up Fortnite and seeing a load of kids fucking rainbow emoting around me. I can't be arsed with it.
They need to bring back PlayStation Home, don't they? And they have a Martin Luther King kind of level to it where you could freely choose to go in there and learn about it. Because that's a way you could educate, the youth.
That's a really good idea, actually. PlayStation Home or something like that, like back in the day, Second Life. That's probably a really good way to do it. I remember PlayStation Home back in the day, seeing different areas come in and seeing like the Killzone area, because there was a new Killzone 3 coming out, and going and experiencing that and seeing all the kind of hype for the game and going into the cinema. And the cinema in PlayStation Home would have all the trailers there. And it'd be like, oh, going live at 10 o'clock tonight in the cinema and PlayStation Home. You'd all go in there. It'd be like loads of you in the audience, all just enjoying this trailer. Maybe that's the thing. Maybe that's what this needs. And maybe that's the way that they can build on these events that are happening inside games. And they can bring it to more of a platform and have it so that it's a platform-wide thing. Because then you can just not go into that place and you can just not experience that. But somebody that wants to, it's there for them.
All about choice, mate. All about giving them the choice.
Always choice.
It's really nice hearing a solution on that. Really enjoyed that, guys. But moving away from something really serious to something that isn't quite as serious, but also very impactful. Spence, how's the poll done?
All right, I'll check right now. So, boys, the poll has finished with a total of 17 votes throughout the duration of the podcast. 47.1% are by the neck, and 52.9% are by the bottle.
Let's go by the body, boys. That's how we do it. We grab it round the middle, we stroke that ergonomic grip that Grohl should provide me with, and we take a sip of our beer like men. I appreciate that. Thank you, everyone, for supporting me. I'm telling you, this is why I don't take shots when I'm down 3-0, because I go 3-1. I get one right, baby, and that's all that really matters.
It just shows that 52.9% of people in this world are wrong about stuff. And that's what we've proven tonight, guys.
It's true.
And on that bombshell, it's time for us to end this podcast. Just want to say thank you ever so much for listening to this point. Really, really appreciate you. If you want to support the podcast, the best way of doing so is by sharing it round. Word of mouth is what is helping us to grow this podcast every single month. And so please share it with your friends, your enemies, anyone you even remotely know, regardless of if they're interested in PlayStation or not, could learn something from this podcast. If you want to support us even more, then please leave a review. Reviews help us to find a larger audience and they help us with the algorithm. But that's been this episode of In PS We Trust. Now, I've been Davey.
I've been Phil.
And I've been Spencer.
Take care, guys.
Peace.
In PS We Trust is hosted by Davey, Phil, and Spencer. You can write into the show via our email, pswetrust@gmail.com. Our Twitter is @InPSWeTrust. To find each of us online, follow our Twitters, @SSJDavey, @PhilipHoy, @SpenPie_. Thank you for listening. Take care of yourselves, take care of each other. See ya.